Now, also, first steps in checking for fuel trim issues, check all your DTCs. So if you have a misfire code, definitely fix that first. Fix an O2 sensor problem first. Misfires, for example, will cause the fuel trims to go higher, either be a mass airflow or a speed density vehicle, and here's why. Now, normally a lot of techs will say, well, if it's misfiring, let's say it's an ignition misfire, very popular, very common, doesn't make combustion because there's no spark. Fuel injector, on the other hand, still sprays. Wouldn't it make the mixture rich? Yes, but what does this measure? O2 only. Doesn't measure hydrocarbons. It's not a 5-gas analyzer, it's a 1-gas analyzer, O2. So the oxygen that didn't burn when the fuel sprayed but the spark didn't ignite it goes right onto the exhaust and makes this think it's lean. So fuel trim numbers go up. But here's a little lesser known fact. When you have ignition related misfires, the fuel trim increase, positive, it will happen, it won't be profound. It won't be 25, 35%. Typically, it might be 10, 12%, 15%. If you have an injector that's not spraying, causing the same lean mixture, the same abundance of oxygen left over, that will have a very profound effect, 20, 25, 30% positive fuel trim. The difference between the two events, they're both lean, they both drove fuel trim. One drove the fuel trim up a little bit, ignition-related misfire. The other one, a bad injector, not spraying fuel, a fuel-related misfire, that one drove the trim up profoundly. What was the difference? The way combustion reacts. So one reacts differently than the other, so you'll just remember O2 increases, I should say trim increases from ignition misfires are less profound than trim increases from a true air-fuel ratio, like a bad injector type of a misfire. So consider those things. Also, late model, speaking of injectors not firing, late model fuel injectors will be shut off if there's an ignition or any other reason for a misfire, and that's only going to affect if you were measuring with a gas analyzer in the tailpipe. So if the PCM is not calibrated in what I would call the right way of doing things, the PCM basically would say, hey, gee, it's lean. I'm seeing abundance of air because it shut its own injector off. So remember, cycle the key, clear the code for the injector before you go back to fuel trim diagnostics. You may just have a misfire issue.